Well, I went working for the new American Real Estate Tax Service in Texas, and they gave me some promises. I did such a good job, they kept moving me around, so I was working for Mary in the kind of a storage area for the tubs for all the taxes for each county that they serviced. And there came an annual project, and if I did it well, Mary's manager, Mrs. Smith, promised me a full-time job. Last year, this project took months to do. It was nearly impossible to keep track of the tubs, and they had a problem with it. Answer: large colored stickers, one color for each stage of the project. Hence, one need only look for tubs with a particular color sticker and not have to keep track of the tubs individually. Put my pointer over there. And throughout the building, it was a multiple faceted area there. Sucker. All right, I was a sucker. Mary saw what I did for Mrs. Smith and asked me to propose a new layout for her area, since I did so well with the sticker idea, so simple. I did some drawings proposing mobile shelving carts to replace her static shelving. That way tubs didn't have to be moved around one at a time. The carts would be used to move entire groups of tubs around instead of carrying them one tub at a time. Everyone was excited about this idea, so I was promoted to planner, purchasing agent, project coordinator, and installer with a promise, but no pay raise. All right, Mary's husband helped me. I worked for a different employer, God. Mary's husband helped me to dismantle the shelving. Other than that, I was on my own. I did detailed drawings, bargained with suppliers, recommended purchases, unloaded and installed all the equipment, all by myself, for $6.75 an hour, and another broken promise. I didn't even get never mind the pay raise, I didn't get the promotion. Grand success, a new coffee cup, oh, there you go, and a letter of commendation. I wonder if I still have that letter, as the Kelly Services Nationwide Temp of the Month. Wow. I was personally handed this letter by a Kelly executive along with a brand new keychain. Maybe, how about dinner or something? No money, no promotion, no full-time job. Not even full-time for all that work. The kudos were many. The promises kept, none. The keychain was too bulky. I don't drink coffee. Mrs. Smith was let go, and so was her promise. So I was traded back to Mary. But she and I got along. Mary said, "You little SBBBT." When I told her I took another assignment elsewhere, it felt good to be a master of my own destiny, even if it was out of the door. Again, I say, they meant it for evil. God meant it for good, to move me on to another place to share my faith. What good were any of these jobs anyway? They were all dead-end jobs. So I could say in the song, Temp Man for Sale or Rent, I've done every job in every town, whatever the job needs without a frown. And in every kind of work I'm renowned, in every one-day assignment I'm found. Temp Man for Sale or Rent. Anyway, van star for 2 months. Every morning was a 1.5 mile walk from the bus stop, rain, cold, and heat. Never missed a day nor late one time. Revamped the files. They extended the time because of my filing skill, but no full-time offer. I don't know what it was. Now we're talking about people's lives matter. Well, where was my life? Why didn't it matter, especially when I did a good job all the time? The associates. I go to the associates. Filing for 1 month. My co-worker announced that she was royalty and the wife of the ambassador to some country in Africa. So it was beneath her dignity to actually do manual labor. She refused to get her own work. So I brought her work to her because we were supposed to work together on the same project. And I had to redo her work all the time. She filed everything backwards. One time she put an entire file drawer backwards. It took me nearly an hour to redo the damage. She caught me doing this and became incensed. She quit and said it was because of me. It was investigated and I was not dismissed. No thanks, but after she left, my production zoomed. When we ran out of space, I set up a user-friendly archive file room using banker boxes. When they discovered I was computer illiterate, they also had me do some work at the keyboard. The assignment ended on good terms. Still, we could use you. No, you can't. You're moved. Your month is up. ADT, again, 1 month. another assignment where I had to walk several miles. I brought an extra change of clothes and shoes on rainy days. Sometimes I arrived completely soaked to the bone. The change of clothes was quite welcome. I set up a grid on the floor and a diagram on the wall, so it made the job of receiving clerk a piece of cake. Everyone appreciated my ingenuity. Doing the work beyond expectations earned me a second assignment with them. So now, I did that assignment, moved on, IBM, for 1 week. Something about me really turned my supervisor off the moment I opened my mouth. I suspect it was my New York accent, because she kept calling me a Yankee. She was so miserable to me that a man who worked with her kept apologizing for the way I was treated. I got used to saying, look, I'm not a Yankee, I don't play baseball. Then I went to Sharp for 3 days. Same thing, I got a chance to share my faith. They meant it for evil, God meant it for good. The Bar Association, 1 day. Barton Ashman, 1/2 a day. KMPG, Pete Marwick, 7 days and lights out. Lights out, this is interesting. No one paid much attention to me. I worked way in the back of the file room all by myself. Everyone in the file room was pretty cold. Anytime I had a question, I got reluctant answers. One woman ignored me completely when I asked a question, like I was invisible. I had to figure out everything for myself. The last day of the assignment, there was a company picnic. Everyone left the office at 11 a.m. without telling me. Later, I learned everyone was invited to a company picnic but me. They locked the doors and turned out the lights while I was still working. I was left in total darkness, locked in the office. So I felt my way around the desk to gather my belongings. I had to feel my way out of the file room and then out of the building. There were no windows to give me some lights to see. I fought panic as every door I tried was locked. I bumped my way into several dead ends, but kept my composure. I finally felt the doorway on what seemed to be an exterior wall. I located the doorknob. It led to the outside stairway and a sigh of relief. I called the temp agency to tell them the assignment was over. She asked why. I said, well, because they turned the lights out and locked me in the building. There was silence on the other end of the phone. It's amazing how little people care for one another, especially strangers. I called another temp agency for work, not confident that Kelly would try to find another assignment for me. ADT, return engagement for 1 month. I had some experience with soldering and electronic schematics, so I enjoyed doing this work. But when it's over, it's over. Kodak, the image bank, 6 months filing. Keep it to yourself. I found a friend in tech support. Martin was very interested in discussing the Bible and the Christian faith. We kept it in his office. But once in a while, a Mormon kid would come in and butt into the conversation. He made emotional and unsupported rebuttals to whatever we were discussing, often way off the topic. He was quick to get upset. I'd done my homework on these issues and responded objectively with normative rules of language, context, and logic from specific passages in the Bible. So do you think I got worried about getting fired? I was getting so used to it, I expected it. This only served to inflame him, so my conversations with Martin sadly ceased. These conversations did not go as unnoticed as I thought. I found myself surrounded with all kinds of emotional agenda about this from others, especially Millie, who went to the Church of Christ. She was on the attack every morning, but every time I tried to focus on the actual words of whatsoever text she was throwing at me, she would go over the deep end and get emotional and condemn me for my faith. I also met a woman who was a staunch Calvinist. She came over several times to my cube to initiate conversation about her theological point of view. I produced a study I had done earlier for the Calvinist gentleman at Herman Miller, and she took it. She never read it, though, but instead gave it to her pastor. I heard nothing back from her either, or from him. Interesting, when you dialogue about such matters, it all boils down to who is going to do your thinking for you, someone else or yourself. God is not going to judge others for what you believe. He's going to judge you. So the lady Calvinist no longer came by because I kept bringing up the detailed study in Calvinism to her, and she had no answer because she wouldn't investigate it further. She said she was satisfied with what her pastor told her to believe. No one is actually willing to sit down after work and go over what they were talking about objectively. I was replaced by a control print screen. On the other hand, Everyone was impressed that I loved to file so much. I hated it, but I just did it. So I did everyone's filing for them, until I told the manager that the files were on the PC. So to get a hard copy, all you had to do was to hit Control Print Screen, keys simultaneously. The assignment ended quickly because I showed them why they didn't need me. I surmised that I had fulfilled my duty in sharing my faith, and it was now time to move on. So I moved on to the associates, one day and hatless. I was put at a desk where the sun glared directly into my eyes. They would not permit me to adjust the blinds, but the supervisor did grant me permission to use a baseball cap so I could see the screen window without being blinded. They made sure I was seated all by myself and nobody else had this problem. When they saw me coming, no one would help me with instruction or on how to do the work, so I floundered all that morning. When a senior manager saw the cap, I was immediately dismissed and sent home. But Cigna, 2 days later, Kathy, Pat's assistant, saw me in the file room the second day and called the temp agency and said I had been terminated and forever banned from Cigna. So I was given notice to leave the building once more, even though the work was for a different department. EMC Mortgage, 2 days of copying. Sears, 1/2 a day of folding underwear. The Associates, 2 time clock days equals 4 days. I was required to punch in on one manager's time clock and punched out on another's. One was 15 minutes fast, and the other was 15 minutes slow. I lost 20 minutes to 30 minutes every day. Pay-wise, the managers would not allow me to put down real time worked. Norell would not resolve the problem. I decided to terminate myself. Easier that way. Aviol, I worked for 1 month. Wow. I got a bonanza, a job for 1 month. Whenever I got my work done, I did extra work by helping the sales manager set up a bid tabulation spreadsheet in Excel. It determined the best suppliers to go with and unit bid prices with freight allowed. That was fun. I learned a lot about using formulas in Excel. Another manager saw my expertise in Excel and gave me an extra task to do also. In spite of my doing work so efficiently and all the extra work for others, my immediate supervisor never really seemed to communicate with me very well and brought into the manager's office for not responding properly to her instructions. She made sarcastic and personal comments about me all the time. A co-worker told me that she had her moods, and whatever you said at those times, she would take offense. He worked with me in order to become a buffer between the two of us, but I was dismissed for being offensive to her nevertheless. That's the drawback when you are a temp. No good cause, and you're on your way. Mentor, trash data entry, business casual, 2 days. I was told to wear business casual clothes for a data entry assignment. Data entry turned into picking up trash in an overgrown back lot and cigarette butts from sidewalk cracks in business casual dress and 100-degree temperature. Take it or leave it. I had to find my own tools to work with. All I brought with me was tacky finger. I did the work. Liberty Mutual, sort and file, 2 weeks. Equifax, 1 month copying. GTE Supply, General Office, 5 days. My trainer was a very young, impatient American girl. Her English was imperceptible. She spoke much too fast. I did the best I could, but neither logic nor common sense prevailed. I noticed that she was much more coherent when she spoke with her friends. I called the temp agency and fired myself. The job was mailboy, but with poor, impatient instructions, no job can be done satisfactorily. Foundation House, 1/2 day. Gintel, 1/2 day. Alston Care, 1 week. There was no place for me to do my work, so they jammed me into an ancient wood desk with no drawer bottoms into the entrance of the linen closet. I had to climb over the desk into the closet and sit into an old broken wooden swivel. People came to the closet for linens, which I handed out in between doing the clerical work. GTE, 4 days moving files. The supervisor couldn't make up her mind on anything. I did as much as I could and ended the assignment. I was called by another temp agency, desperate to send someone to help this poor, indecisive soul. In other words, I said, I can't do anything for you, so they turned around and sent me back there. No one would stay on the job. I preferred sanity, so I left the second time. Iron Mountain, 1 week. Filing in a dark warehouse using a hospital filing system on rickety ladders with a left-handed layout. I was beginning to wonder if there was a sane job out there that showed some respect for my humanity. Motorola, 1 month repairing beepers.